Be fearless. Turn self-doubt into drive. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Introduction. Imagine what you could achieve if self-doubt didn't stand in your way, if every hesitation, every whisper of not good enough could be transformed into motivation instead of a barrier. Turn self-doubt into drive. We'll explore how to break through that inner resistance and reframe doubt as a source of strength and momentum. Self-doubt is powerful, but it's not the end of your story. Here, you'll learn how to convert those inner doubts into a force that pushes you forward, rather than one that holds you back. By understanding the roots of self-doubt and reshaping how you respond, you'll develop practical tools to turn hesitation into purpose, criticism into confidence, and potential into reality. This journey will show you that fear isn't your enemy, it's a resource you can harness. With each step, you'll gain greater control over your thoughts and find yourself empowered to tackle any challenge. It's time to shift the way you see self-doubt and transform it into a fearless drive that can take you anywhere you want to go. Chapter 1. Meet your inner critic. Welcome to the start of a journey that promises to reshape the way you perceive yourself and your capabilities. Here we dive deep into a part of your mind that has, for better or worse, influenced countless decisions, ambitions, and even relationships, the inner critic. This voice, often relentless, whispering that you're not good enough, smart enough, or prepared enough, is a part of you that most of us know all too well. But what if we could transform our relationship with this critic? What if, instead of seeing it as a force that undermines us, we began to understand it as a misguided ally? In this chapter, you'll discover where this inner critic comes from, why it exists, and how it might not be the villain it seems. We'll explore the science and psychology behind self-doubt, reveal its origins, and outline how understanding this critic is the first step in harnessing it to work for us instead of against us. Self-doubt isn't new, it's a feeling ingrained in human psychology, one that has been present since early humans walked the earth. From an evolutionary standpoint, doubt was essential for survival. Picture yourself thousands of years ago, relying on your instincts to avoid dangerous animals, uncertain terrains, or poisonous plants. Doubt was a way to protect yourself, a cautious approach to ensure survival in a world full of threats. Fast forward to modern society, and while the threats we face may have changed, the mechanism of doubt remains deeply embedded in our minds. But here's where things get complicated. Unlike the clear, present dangers of the past, today's doubts often stem from social comparison, criticism, or personal insecurity. Our inner critic now guards against emotional risks, fear of failure, rejection, or disappointment. As a result, this ancient survival mechanism has become a barrier to our own progress, something that steps in with well-intentioned warnings, but often limits our potential. Everyone's inner critic sounds different. For some, it's an authoritative voice of caution, warning them not to take risks. For others, it's a harsh, judgmental presence that highlights every perceived flaw or shortcoming. Take a moment to consider how this voice speaks to you. Does it appear in specific situations, like a job interview, a date, or before a big presentation? Or does it pop up in daily life, criticizing your choices, appearance, or efforts? Recognizing the specific situations where your inner critic is most vocal is a powerful step toward understanding it. Notice when these doubts appear, and observe the patterns. Are there certain phrases it repeats? Perhaps it says things like, "You'll never be good enough," or "You're not ready for this." These are phrases that stem not from reality but from ingrained fears and insecurities, often amplified by past experiences or societal pressures. Imagine Sarah, a high-performing manager who constantly feels inadequate despite her accomplishments. Whenever she's praised for her work, her inner critic insists it was luck, not skill. She often recalls how, as a child, she was encouraged to be humble and not boast about her achievements. These early messages embedded in her mind have morphed into self-doubt that now clouds her confidence. For Sarah, the inner critic has taken on a protective role, attempting to shield her from arrogance by fostering doubt. Recognizing this allows her to see her self-doubt not as truth but as a remnant of past conditioning. Strategies to meet your critic head-on. 1. Observe without judgment. When self-doubt arises, try to observe it without reacting or judging yourself. Acknowledge the thought as a natural part of your mind but detach from it. Think of it as a visitor passing through, rather than an authority over your actions. 2. Name the critic. Giving your inner critic a name can make it easier to recognize and separate it from your true self. You might call it the worrier or the judge. When doubt arises, address it by name. There goes the worrier again. This simple step helps you distance yourself from the critical voice. 3. Examine the evidence. Each time your inner critic presents a doubt or fear, question its accuracy. Ask yourself, is this thought based on facts, or is it an assumption? By challenging these thoughts, you start to break down the automatic power they have over you. 4. Reframe its intentions. Recognize that the inner critic often means well. Its primary intent is to keep you safe from emotional pain, embarrassment, or failure. Instead of resenting this voice, try to view it with empathy, understanding that it's attempting to help in a flawed way. When you realize that its goal is protection, you can begin to see it as an outdated advisor rather than an enemy. Your inner critic isn't something to battle or silence, it's something to understand and integrate. By acknowledging its roots and purpose, you can start to redefine its role in your life. This critic can become less of a barrier and more of an advisor you consult occasionally, but not one whose word is final. The first step in mastering your inner critic is to recognize its presence, understand its origins, and then choose to respond rather than react. Self-doubt will always be a part of us, but with awareness and practice, it doesn't have to control us. In the next chapter, we'll explore how self-doubt, while often seen as a hindrance, can be a powerful motivator when properly managed. Embrace this first step with curiosity and patience. Remember, this is just the beginning. Chapter 2. The dual nature of self-doubt. Self-doubt is often viewed as the enemy of success. But what if it's more complex than that? What if doubt, when understood and managed, could actually be a tool for growth and achievement? In this chapter, we'll explore the dual nature of self-doubt, how it can be both a source of limitation and a catalyst for positive change. Many of the world's most accomplished individuals have faced deep doubts, but used them as fuel to push further. By understanding the constructive side of doubt, we can begin to harness it as a motivator instead of allowing it to halt our progress. Let's begin with the aspect of doubt most people are familiar with, its destructive side. Self-doubt can become an anchor, weighing us down with overthinking, insecurity, and a lack of confidence. Left unchecked, it can lead to procrastination, missed opportunities, and an unwillingness to take risks. It might show up as analysis paralysis or fear of failure, preventing us from taking even the smallest steps toward our goals. When self-doubt spirals, it can affect both mental health and productivity. People may fall into a pattern of self-criticism, constantly focusing on perceived flaws rather than strengths. This form of doubt creates a cycle that feels impossible to break, draining energy and fostering a mindset of "I'm not good enough." The irony is that in trying to protect us, self-doubt can trap us in our own minds, locking us away from experiences and opportunities that could help us grow. Consider Michael, an entrepreneur who dreamed of starting his own company. For years he researched and planned, yet every time he considered launching his business, doubts crept in. Thoughts like, what if it fails? And I'm not ready echoed, leading to endless preparation without action. Over time, his vision became a frustrating, distant goal, hindered not by a lack of knowledge or resources, but by self-doubt that sapped his willingness to take the leap. Now let's consider the other side of the coin, the potential benefits of self-doubt. When managed effectively, self-doubt can serve as a checkpoint that makes us more thorough, resilient, and thoughtful. It can inspire us to refine our skills, prepare more rigorously, and approach situations with humility, leading to a balanced perspective. Instead of viewing self-doubt as a block, we can use it as a feedback system, a tool to evaluate our readiness and motivation. Doubt encourages introspection, often revealing areas where we can grow or strengthen our approach. If you've ever felt doubt before giving a speech, presenting an idea, or taking on a challenge, it likely led you to practice more, seek advice, or anticipate potential setbacks. Doubt, when seen as a friend, can make us sharper and more resilient, spurring self-improvement that builds confidence over time. Think of Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx. She openly talks about the doubts she faced while building her business. Early on, her lack of experience made her question her decisions constantly, but she used that doubt as a motivator to learn and grow. She embraced feedback, researched tirelessly, and practiced resilience. Instead of stopping her, those doubts drove her to create a highly successful company. Her story is a testament to the fact that self-doubt, when approached constructively, can be an asset rather than a hindrance. How to harness the constructive side of doubt. 1. Identify your growth areas. When doubt arises, instead of viewing it as a signal to stop, use it as a tool to examine where you can improve. Does the doubt point out a skill you need to develop or an area you need to research more thoroughly? If so, set goals to address these gaps, reframing doubt as a source of insight. 2. Set small, achievable goals. Doubt often feels overwhelming when we're focused on big, distant goals. By breaking goals down into smaller, manageable steps, you can use doubt as a prompt to ensure each step is solid, building confidence gradually as you move forward. 3. Seek constructive feedback. Surround yourself with people who can give you honest, constructive feedback. Feedback from others can help validate or challenge your doubts, giving you a clearer sense of where you stand and what adjustments are necessary. 4. Practice self-compassion. Self-doubt often intensifies when we're hard on ourselves. Practicing self-compassion, reminding yourself that doubt is a natural experience, can help you view it more objectively. By accepting that doubt is part of the journey, you'll be less likely to let it control you. Self-doubt is a paradox, one with both positive and negative potential. It can paralyze us, or it can prompt us to prepare and grow. Recognizing the dual nature of doubt allows us to shift our perspective from fear to curiosity and improvement. The key is learning when to listen to self-doubt as a guide and when to challenge it. Rather than letting it define our limits, we can redefine its role in our lives, allowing it to push us further rather than hold us back. In the next chapter, we'll explore practical techniques for reframing self-talk, so when self-doubt arises, we can manage it in a way that fosters growth and resilience. Get ready to learn the power of your own words and how they can shape the way you see yourself. Chapter 3. Reframing Self-Talk. Welcome to a transformative chapter on the power of words, specifically, the words we say to ourselves. Think about the last time you faced a challenge or a moment of uncertainty. What did your inner voice say? Was it encouraging, or did it emphasize your fears and limitations? Self-talk is one of the most influential forces in shaping how we view ourselves and our abilities. In this chapter, we'll delve into practical techniques for reframing self-talk, turning the inner dialogue from a source of doubt into a catalyst for resilience, growth, and self-belief. When it comes to self-talk, subtle shifts in language can make all the difference. Imagine moving from "I can't do this" to "this is hard, but I'm learning." The words we choose influence our mindset, and by reframing our inner dialogue, we gain the power to change how we respond to challenges. Our self-talk, the internal commentary we carry throughout the day, profoundly influences our emotions, behavior, and overall sense of self-worth. When faced with difficult situations, our minds often default to critical, self-doubting narratives that mirror our past experiences or perceived limitations. But research in psychology and neuroscience shows that self-talk is more than just a background monologue. It shapes our brain's response to stress, affects our confidence, and can even determine our long-term success. Negative self-talk often falls into familiar patterns: self-criticism, catastrophizing, and doubting our abilities. Statements like, "I always mess things up" or "I'm just not good enough for this" reflect limiting beliefs that reinforce our doubts. They narrow our focus, blinding us to opportunities and stifling our motivation. Conversely, positive self-talk is grounded in self-compassion and optimism. It doesn't mean ignoring challenges but rather approaching them with a balanced, realistic mindset. Statements like, "I'll give this my best shot," or "I'm learning as I go" keep us open to possibility, helping us see mistakes as part of the journey, rather than evidence of failure. Consider Alex, who constantly wrestles with the inner voice that says, "You're not cut out for this." He's always wanted to advance in his career but doubts his qualifications, even when he has concrete evidence of his capabilities. By reframing his self-talk to acknowledge both his abilities and the effort he's putting in, Alex shifts from "I'm not good enough" to "I'm still learning, and that's okay." This reframing doesn't ignore his doubt, it transforms it into a realistic acknowledgement of his progress, encouraging growth, rather than holding him back. 1. Catch and challenge automatic negative thoughts. Ants. Automatic negative thoughts are the reflexive, often self-critical thoughts that arise in moments of doubt. The first step in reframing self-talk is catching these thoughts as they emerge. When a negative thought appears, like "I'll fail at this," pause and ask yourself if there's evidence to support it. Then, actively challenge it by replacing it with a balanced statement, such as "This is challenging, but I've prepared well." 2. Shift from "I can't" to "I'm learning." One of the simplest ways to reframe self-talk is to shift from absolutes to growth-oriented language. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," try saying, "I'm learning how to do this." This small change keeps the focus on progress, reminding you that skills and confidence develop over time. It's a way of acknowledging difficulty without resigning yourself to failure. 3. Use third-person self-talk. Research shows that referring to yourself in the third person can help create emotional distance and reduce the intensity of self-doubt. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," try saying, "Alex is working on this skill." By addressing yourself as if you're speaking to someone else, you can approach your inner dialogue with greater empathy and objectivity. 4. Practice yet language. When you catch yourself saying, "I don't know how to do this," add the word "yet." This small addition shifts your mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility, yet implies that learning and improvement are still unfolding, reminding you that capabilities evolve over time. 5. Affirm your effort, not just outcomes. Self-doubt often arises from focusing solely on outcomes rather than effort. When self-talk revolves around perfection, any shortcoming becomes a source of discouragement. To reframe this, emphasize the effort and perseverance you bring to each task. Try saying, "I'm proud of the work I put in, regardless of the outcome." This change fosters resilience, reinforcing that progress matters as much as, if not more than, perfection. Practical exercise for reframing self-talk. 1. Write it down. Keep a journal where you write down the critical thoughts you notice throughout the day. Once you've written them down, take a moment to rewrite each thought from a more balanced perspective. For example, "I'm terrible at public speaking" could become, "Public speaking challenges me, but with practice, I'm improving." 2. Practice daily affirmations. Create a list of affirmations that resonate with you, statements like "I am resilient" or "I'm capable of growth." Spend a few minutes each morning reading these affirmations out loud to set a positive tone for the day. 3. Visualize success with realistic optimism. Visualization is powerful, but for those prone to self-doubt, it's essential to approach it with a sense of realism. Instead of imagining yourself effortlessly achieving a goal, visualize yourself navigating challenges, learning, and growing along the way. This type of realistic optimism helps you approach tasks with both positivity and preparedness. Reframing self-talk isn't about ignoring challenges or glossing over doubts. Instead, it's about creating a realistic, supportive inner dialogue that empowers you to take action. By choosing words that reflect resilience, growth, and self-compassion, you shift from a mindset of limitation to one of possibility. In the next chapter, we'll take this foundation and build upon it by exploring the science of self-belief. You'll learn how confidence is not a fixed trait but a skill you can cultivate, one small step at a time. Chapter 4. The Science of Self-Belief. Imagine a moment when you felt truly confident, perhaps a time when you accomplished something significant, spoke your mind, or tackled a new challenge head-on. That feeling of self-belief isn't just a burst of emotion, it's rooted in the brain and can be cultivated. In this chapter, we'll explore the science behind self-belief, understanding how confidence is built, maintained, and strengthened over time. Far from being a fixed trait, confidence is a skill that, with deliberate practice, can be developed and reinforced. Through insights from psychology and neuroscience, we'll see how self-belief operates, why it's essential for success, and how to tap into it as a sustainable resource. Self-belief is closely tied to neural pathways in the brain that strengthen with repeated use. Every time you succeed or reinforce a positive self-perception, your brain releases dopamine, a reward neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. This dopamine response doesn't just make you feel good, it reinforces neural pathways that boost self-confidence, creating a feedback loop that encourages you to take further positive action. However, when we doubt ourselves or experience failure, our brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone, which can disrupt these positive pathways and create a cycle of anxiety and self-doubt. Understanding this neurological process is key because it reveals a fundamental truth: confidence builds like a muscle. The more we engage in positive self-affirming actions, the stronger those neural pathways become, reinforcing self-belief. Self-efficacy. a concept developed by psychologist Albert Bandura, is a key element in the science of self-belief. Self-efficacy is the belief in your own ability to achieve specific goals or handle specific situations, and it's closely tied to confidence. Unlike general self-esteem, which is more about feeling good about yourself in general, self-efficacy is task-specific and built over time through experience. Building self-efficacy requires setting achievable goals, taking small steps, and acknowledging incremental successes. By focusing on each small success, you reinforce the belief that you're capable, which in turn builds overall confidence. People with high self-efficacy are more resilient, adaptive, and willing to embrace new challenges. This resilience to keep trying, even when faced with setbacks, is a cornerstone of self-belief. Consider Anna, a high school teacher who always struggled with public speaking. She'd avoid speaking at staff meetings and dreaded giving presentations. By focusing on self-efficacy, she decided to set small, manageable goals. First, she practiced delivering short announcements in front of her class. Gradually, she took on larger tasks, such as leading a meeting for a small group of colleagues. Over time, her confidence grew. Her brain began associating public speaking with positive outcomes, creating a feedback loop that strengthened her belief in her speaking abilities. Today, Anna delivers presentations with confidence, knowing that her self-efficacy grew through those small steps. Techniques to build self-belief. 1. Set small, achievable goals. The micro-win strategy. One of the most effective ways to build self-belief is by setting small goals that can be achieved quickly. Each time you accomplish one, no matter how minor, you reinforce the brain's reward pathway with a burst of dopamine. This creates a micro-win effect, which strengthens self-confidence and keeps you motivated to tackle bigger challenges. Start with manageable tasks that align with your larger goals and celebrate each accomplishment. 2. Visualize success, but include the challenges. Visualization is a popular confidence-building tool, but research shows that effective visualization includes not only imagining success but also anticipating challenges. Visualizing both the effort and the obstacles helps prepare the brain for realistic situations, reinforcing self-efficacy and resilience. For example, if you're preparing for a big presentation, visualize the process of managing nerves and staying calm under pressure, rather than just picturing a flawless delivery. 3. Reflect on past successes. The success journal. Keeping a success journal is a powerful tool for reinforcing self-belief. Dedicate a notebook to recording small and big successes. Include moments when you pushed through doubt, achieved something new, or overcame a challenge. Revisiting these entries when self-doubt arises reminds you of your capabilities and past achievements, grounding your confidence in real experiences, rather than abstract affirmations. 4. Embrace failure as data growth mindset approach. People who embrace a growth mindset, believing that abilities and intelligence can be developed over time, are more likely to maintain self-belief in the face of failure. Instead of seeing mistakes as a reflection of your limitations, consider them as data, valuable insights into where you can improve. By reframing failure as a learning opportunity, you reinforce resilience and reduce the impact of self-doubt. 5. Create a confidence anchor. Anchors are physical or mental cues that trigger positive emotions and boost confidence. This could be a small ritual, like taking a deep breath or visualizing a past success, to reinforce self-belief before a challenging task. Anchors work by associating a simple action or memory with a positive emotional state, helping you access that confidence on demand. Practical exercise for building self-belief. 1. The success ladder exercise. Imagine a ladder where each rung represents a small step toward a larger goal. Start by identifying a challenging but achievable goal and break it into 5 to 10 small, manageable actions, each representing a rung on the ladder. Each time you complete a step, visualize yourself moving up a rung. This exercise helps you visualize your progress and build self-belief gradually. 2. Daily confidence affirmations. Develop a set of confidence-boosting affirmations that you can repeat daily. Rather than abstract statements, make them specific and actionable, such as "I am capable of handling new challenges," or "I learn and grow with each experience." Repeat these affirmations aloud or write them down, reinforcing positive neural pathways. 3. Create a highlight reel visualization. Visualize a series of your proudest achievements as if they're scenes from a movie. Replay this mental highlight reel regularly, especially before high-pressure situations, to boost your confidence and reinforce your self-belief. This practice strengthens the neural connections associated with past successes, reminding you of your capabilities. Self-belief isn't a trait that people are simply born with, it's a skill we develop through conscious practice and persistence. By understanding the brain's role in confidence and practicing techniques that reinforce self-efficacy, you can build a resilient self-belief that serves you in every aspect of life. The journey to greater confidence may start with small steps, but each step strengthens your internal belief system, reinforcing a foundation that will empower you over the long term. In the next chapter, we'll discuss how to face fears and failures without allowing them to undermine your self-belief. You'll learn how to take setbacks in stride and use them as fuel for continued growth and resilience. Chapter 5. Facing Fear and Failure. In this chapter, we'll tackle a powerful source of self-doubt: the fear of failure. Fear is natural and universal, it's a fundamental part of being human. We fear failing at work, in relationships, or in pursuing personal goals. But what if instead of running from failure, we embraced it as an essential part of growth? Here we'll explore how to confront fear, reframe failure as a learning experience, and build the resilience to keep moving forward. By changing how we see fear and failure, we can turn them from obstacles into stepping stones. Failure is often framed as a setback or a mark of inadequacy, but the most successful people view failure differently. They see it as feedback, as data that tells them what to improve or where to adjust. Developing this mindset allows us to fear failure less and understand its potential for helping us grow and succeed. Fear is a survival mechanism hardwired into our brains, designed to protect us from harm. It's a fight-or-flight response that has evolved to alert us to danger. In the modern world, however, this response often appears not in life-or-death situations, but in moments where we feel vulnerable, uncertain, or unprepared. When we fear failure, we're essentially fearing judgment, rejection, or loss. Fear is a what-if question, an endless mental loop of potential scenarios and outcomes. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? Left unchecked, this type of fear can paralyze us, keeping us from trying, risking, and growing. The goal, then, isn't to eliminate fear but to manage it, using it as motivation instead of allowing it to control us. What if we saw failure not as an endpoint but as feedback? Instead of viewing it as a personal shortcoming, we can choose to see it as valuable data that informs our next steps. Every failure, large or small, carries lessons. By analyzing what went wrong and understanding why it happened, we build resilience and improve our future attempts. Failure, then, becomes not a personal flaw, but an opportunity to learn, adapt, and move closer to our goals. Consider Thomas Edison's approach to invention. Famous for his many attempts at creating the light bulb, Edison's response to failure was unique. When asked about his failures, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." For Edison, each failed experiment was simply data, guiding him toward what would ultimately succeed. This perspective allowed him to persist, knowing that each failure was a step closer to his goal. Techniques to confront fear and embrace failure. 1. Face fear with a growth mindset. A growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can develop over time, changes how we experience failure. Instead of seeing it as proof of inadequacy, a growth mindset encourages us to see failure as a temporary state that can lead to improvement. Whenever fear arises, remind yourself that setbacks are part of the learning process. 2. Visualize the worst-case scenario and realize you can handle it. Fear often thrives on the unknown. By visualizing the worst-case scenario, you bring it into focus, allowing you to assess its true impact. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could realistically happen? By doing this, you realize that you can handle even the worst outcomes, which can significantly reduce the power of fear over you. 3. Adopt a fail-fast, fail-forward mindset. The fail-fast, fail-forward approach, common in startups and creative industries, encourages rapid experimentation, where failure is not only accepted but valued. This mindset shifts the goal from avoid failure to learn quickly. By embracing failure as an inevitable part of progress, you gain the courage to try, knowing that every setback brings you closer to eventual success. 4. Create a failure analysis ritual. Whenever you experience a setback, dedicate time to analyze it. Ask yourself, what went well, what didn't, what can I learn from this experience? By treating each failure as an opportunity for reflection, you'll extract valuable insights that inform your future efforts. Over time, this ritual will help you detach from fear of failure, seeing it as a constructive, predictable part of the journey. 5. Celebrate small wins along the way. Fear of failure often overshadows our smaller victories, making it hard to see the progress we're making. By celebrating small wins, we acknowledge our resilience and determination. Each time you celebrate a step forward, you're reinforcing the mindset that success is built one small win at a time, which makes setbacks feel more manageable. Practical exercise to embrace failure. 1. The failure log. Keep a log dedicated to recording each failure, no matter how minor, along with what you learned from it. This exercise encourages you to view failure as a data point rather than a judgment. After each entry, write down one actionable insight you can apply next time. Over time, your failure log will become a testament to your growth and resilience. 2. The What If I Fail worksheet. Take a sheet of paper and write down a fear that's holding you back. Then, break down the specific what if questions you associate with it. For example, what if people judge me? What if I don't meet expectations? Next to each question, write a constructive response, reframing each what if with a positive outlook. This exercise demystifies your fears and offers constructive solutions. 3. Risk-taking experiment. Set up a mini experiment where you take a calculated risk in a low-stakes situation. This could be something like speaking up in a meeting, sharing an idea, or trying a new skill. Approach it with curiosity, knowing that the outcome isn't the focus, rather, it's about confronting fear and observing the result. Afterward, reflect on the experience and write down what you learned. Facing fear and embracing failure isn't about becoming immune to doubt, it's about choosing to see setbacks as opportunities for growth. By reframing failure as feedback and acknowledging that fear is a natural response, we can approach challenges with courage and resilience. Every failure we embrace and learn from strengthens our self-belief, building a foundation for future success. In the next chapter, we'll explore the power of vulnerability, how opening ourselves up to uncertainty and risk can actually make us stronger. By embracing vulnerability, we find new ways to confront our fears and build lasting confidence. Chapter 6. Embracing vulnerability for growth. Vulnerability can be an intimidating concept. We're often taught to hide our weaknesses, protect our emotions, and fake it until we make it. Yet, embracing vulnerability, the act of openly acknowledging our imperfections and uncertainties, is one of the most powerful ways to build resilience, connect deeply with others, and enhance our personal growth. In this chapter, we'll explore why vulnerability isn't a weakness but a strength. We'll look at how being open to risk, criticism, and even failure can pave the way to a more authentic, empowered life. By allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, we dismantle the defenses that self-doubt uses to keep us in our comfort zones. Vulnerability invites courage, turning what we often perceive as weaknesses into sources of strength and growth. Vulnerability is commonly misunderstood as exposure, but it's actually a courageous choice. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we're showing that we're willing to be seen as we truly are, with all our imperfections. This authenticity not only strengthens our self-belief but also fosters genuine connections with others, as people are naturally drawn to those who are open and real. Vulnerability challenges the inner critic, showing it that we don't need to be perfect to be valuable. Psychologist Brené Brown, a leading researcher on vulnerability, has shown that people who embrace vulnerability are more resilient and experience greater personal satisfaction. By letting down their guard, they are less consumed by fear of failure, willing to take risks, and open to growth. Vulnerability allows us to take ownership of our lives and experiences, freeing us from the constraints of self-doubt and enabling a more open approach to life. Think of an artist named David, who struggled for years with imposter syndrome, feeling like his work would never be good enough to share publicly. After years of hiding his work, David decided to post his paintings online, explaining his insecurities in a short, heartfelt message. Surprisingly, the response was overwhelmingly positive, and people connected deeply with his honesty. By choosing vulnerability, David not only grew his audience but also found newfound confidence in his art, realizing that his authenticity resonated more than any polished facade could. Techniques to embrace vulnerability. 1. Start small with micro-vulnerabilities. Practicing vulnerability doesn't mean sharing your deepest fears with everyone. Start small by practicing micro-vulnerabilities, small acts of openness, such as asking for help, admitting a mistake, or expressing how you genuinely feel about something. These small acts help you get comfortable with vulnerability and build confidence in being open with others. 2. Use I feel statements. A simple but effective way to practice vulnerability is by using I feel statements to express emotions clearly. Instead of saying this is difficult, say, I feel nervous about this presentation. Statements like these help you acknowledge and own your feelings without judgment. This practice builds self-acceptance and helps you better understand your emotions, empowering you to communicate them confidently. 3. Reframe vulnerability as strength. Whenever you feel exposed or uncertain, remind yourself that vulnerability takes strength. Reframing vulnerability in this way can help counteract feelings of weakness or insecurity. Rather than focusing on the potential risk, view it as an opportunity to grow and connect on a deeper level. 4. Create a courage inventory. Reflect on times in the past when you allowed yourself to be vulnerable and faced your fears. Write down each instance as part of a courage inventory. Revisit this list whenever self-doubt creeps in, reminding yourself that you've shown courage before and that vulnerability has led to growth and resilience in the past. 5. Practice radical self-compassion. Vulnerability often brings up self-critical thoughts. Combat this by practicing self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding, especially during moments of self-doubt. Remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes and faces insecurities, and that being vulnerable is a natural part of the human experience. Practical exercise to embrace vulnerability. 1. The Vulnerability Journal. Keep a journal where you document moments of vulnerability. Each time you express a fear, share a doubt, or show an authentic side of yourself, write about it. Reflect on how it felt, what you learned, and any positive outcomes that resulted. This exercise reinforces that vulnerability is a constructive force, helping you see the value it brings to your life. 2. The Inner Circle Exercise. Choose a trusted friend or family member to whom you can open up. Share something you've been keeping to yourself, perhaps a goal you're scared to pursue, a mistake you're grappling with, or an insecurity that's been on your mind. Opening up to someone you trust strengthens your vulnerability muscles and helps you feel supported. 3. Public speaking practice, even just to yourself. Practicing vulnerability can start with something as simple as speaking openly, even if it's just to yourself in the mirror. Stand in front of a mirror and voice an insecurity or a goal that feels vulnerable. Practice speaking openly and confidently, allowing yourself to express it aloud. This builds comfort with voicing vulnerabilities and makes it easier to do so with others. Embracing vulnerability is about learning to show up as you are, without masks or defenses. By allowing yourself to be vulnerable, you're proving to your inner critic that you don't need to be perfect or invulnerable to have value. Vulnerability isn't a weakness but a testament to your resilience and willingness to grow. It's a powerful tool that breaks down the walls of self-doubt and opens doors to connection, courage, and authenticity. In the next chapter, we'll build on this foundation by exploring mental resilience, how to stay strong and motivated, even in the face of setbacks and challenges. You'll learn techniques to turn adversity into an opportunity, building an unshakable inner strength that keeps you moving forward. Chapter 7. Building Mental Resilience. Life is full of unexpected challenges, setbacks, and moments that test our inner strength. Mental resilience is the ability to not just withstand these challenges, but to bounce back stronger, adapting to adversity with a sense of purpose and persistence. In this chapter, we'll dive into what it means to build mental resilience, exploring techniques that strengthen your ability to face difficulties without letting them derail your goals or self-belief. Mental resilience isn't just about toughing it out. It's about developing flexible thinking, maintaining a positive outlook, and using challenges as fuel for growth. With resilience, setbacks become learning experiences rather than roadblocks, empowering you to keep moving forward. Mental resilience is rooted in a combination of emotional regulation, positive self-talk, and a growth mindset. Resilient people understand that they can't control every situation, but they can control how they respond. They don't dwell on failure. Instead, they see it as a temporary setback, a problem to be solved, or an opportunity to improve. This mindset enables them to adapt and keep pushing forward. Studies in psychology show that resilience is linked to higher levels of well-being, productivity, and satisfaction. By building resilience, you equip yourself with the mental tools needed to face life's inevitable ups and downs with optimism and perseverance. Consider Mia, who lost her job unexpectedly during a major company downsizing. Rather than allowing this setback to crush her spirit, Mia chose to view it as an opportunity to reevaluate her career path. She spent time upskilling, networking, and eventually launched her own business. Her resilience didn't just help her survive a difficult experience, it transformed it into an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Mia's story shows that resilience allows us to see beyond immediate obstacles, finding new paths forward even when circumstances are difficult. Techniques to build mental resilience. 1. Practice mindfulness to stay grounded in the present. Mindfulness, the practice of staying present and observing your thoughts without judgment, is a powerful tool for building resilience. When faced with adversity, mindfulness helps you stay calm and focused, preventing your mind from spiraling into worst-case scenarios. Try setting aside 5 minutes each day to focus on your breathing and observe your thoughts, gradually building the mental strength to stay grounded during challenging times. 2. Reframe setbacks as learning opportunities. When you encounter a setback, challenge yourself to see it as a lesson rather than a failure. Ask questions like, what can I learn from this? Or how can this experience make me stronger? By reframing setbacks as learning opportunities, you shift from a victim mindset to an empowered, growth-oriented perspective. 3. Build a daily resilience routine. Resilience is like a muscle that gets stronger with practice. Create a daily routine that includes activities to build mental strength, such as exercise, journaling, gratitude practice, or meditation. These habits create a foundation of resilience, helping you maintain a positive mindset even in difficult times. 4. Set realistic, incremental goals. Resilience often falters when we feel overwhelmed. By breaking down big goals into smaller, manageable steps, you prevent burnout and maintain motivation. Celebrate each small victory along the way, reinforcing your progress and building confidence that you're capable of tackling bigger challenges. 5. Develop a support network. Resilience is not something we build alone. A strong support network, whether friends, family, mentors, or professional networks, provides encouragement, perspective, and advice. Don't hesitate to reach out for support when you need it. Resilience isn't about handling everything alone, but about knowing when and how to ask for help. Practical exercise for building resilience. 1. The Resilience Journal. Start a journal specifically for recording challenges and how you respond to them. After each setback, jot down what happened, capture your immediate reactions, and reflect on how you could handle a similar situation in the future. This habit not only gives you a space to process your experiences but also helps reinforce resilience by revealing patterns and pinpointing areas where you can grow stronger. 2. Visualize future challenges and your resilient response. Spend time visualizing an upcoming challenge or goal. Picture yourself facing it calmly and confidently, employing resilience techniques like reframing and mindfulness. Visualizing your resilient response before a challenge arises can help you feel more prepared and less reactive when difficulties come. 3. Gratitude practice for resilience. Gratitude is a powerful resilience builder. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. This practice helps rewire the brain to focus on positive aspects, making it easier to maintain optimism and resilience when you face setbacks. Over time, gratitude reinforces a mindset that sees possibility even in difficult times. Mental resilience is the key to navigating life's ups and downs without being swept away by adversity. It's a skill that develops over time, one small habit and mindset shift at a time. By staying grounded, reframing setbacks, and surrounding yourself with a support network, you can build the inner strength to face any challenge with courage and adaptability. In our next and final chapter, we'll learn how to harness self-doubt as a driving force for success, bringing together everything we've covered so far. This final chapter will show you how to transform self-doubt from a barrier into a motivator that propels you toward your goals. Chapter 8. Transforming self-doubt into success. Self-doubt can be a powerful force, one that either holds us back or propels us forward. By now we've explored its roots, reframed our self-talk, embraced vulnerability, and built mental resilience. In this final chapter, we'll focus on how to convert self-doubt into fuel for success. Instead of seeing doubt as an obstacle, we can transform it into motivation, an inner fire that pushes us toward our goals. Embracing self-doubt as a catalyst for action allows us to harness its energy, taking calculated risks and pursuing growth with confidence. This chapter will tie together the lessons we've covered, showing you how to reframe self-doubt as a sign of progress rather than a barrier. You'll learn techniques to make doubt work for you, cultivating a mindset that sees self-doubt not as a flaw but as an opportunity for achievement. Self-doubt often appears when we step outside our comfort zone, attempting something new or challenging. This discomfort is a natural part of growth. When we recognize self-doubt as a signal that we're pushing ourselves, we can reframe it as a sign of progress rather than inadequacy. Doubt can be a reminder that we're reaching beyond the familiar, testing our limits, and growing as individuals. Learning to embrace this discomfort allows us to step more confidently into new opportunities. Consider Jamal, an engineer with years of experience who decides to launch his own tech startup. As he ventures into unfamiliar territory, he's plagued by self-doubt, questioning his decisions and wondering if he's cut out for entrepreneurship. But instead of letting the doubt overwhelm him, Jamal reframes it as a signal that he's challenging himself in meaningful ways. He embraces this doubt, taking it as a reminder that he's in a period of growth. With each small success, his confidence grows, proving that doubt was simply a part of his path to achievement. Techniques for transforming self-doubt into motivation. 1. Turn doubt into curiosity. When self-doubt appears, approach it with curiosity rather than judgment. Instead of thinking, "I'm not sure I can do this," reframe it as, "What can I learn from this experience?" By shifting your mindset from self-criticism to curiosity, you allow doubt to become a source of motivation for exploration and growth. 2. Set stretch goals to encourage progress. Stretch goals are ambitious targets that push you slightly beyond your comfort zone. These goals are challenging but achievable, forcing you to grow and adapt. Each time you accomplish one, you reinforce the idea that self-doubt doesn't need to hold you back, rather, it can guide you toward bigger ambitions. These goals provide a constructive way to work through doubt while building confidence. 3. Reframe doubt as a commitment to excellence. Doubt often arises when we care deeply about something and want to do our best. Instead of seeing doubt as a lack of capability, view it as a reflection of your commitment to quality and improvement. When doubt arises, remind yourself that it's a sign you're striving for excellence, which can motivate you to keep going and refine your approach. 4. Create a doubt-to-action plan. For each doubt that arises, create a specific action plan. If your doubt says, "I'm not experienced enough for this project," counter it with actions to improve your skills, like reading a book on the topic, reaching out to a mentor, or practicing a relevant skill. By turning doubts into actions, you convert negative self-talk into constructive steps that lead to growth and progress. 5. Develop a personal mantra for success. Create a mantra that reminds you of your resilience and capability. Phrases like, "I'm growing stronger with each challenge," or "Doubt is my path to success" reinforce a mindset that welcomes growth and improvement. Repeat your mantra whenever doubt appears, using it as a tool to stay focused and motivated. Practical exercise to transform self-doubt. The doubt list. Write down specific doubts that have been holding you back. Next to each doubt, list one action you can take to address it constructively. This exercise reframes each doubt as an opportunity for action, building a habit of using self-doubt as motivation for growth, rather than a barrier. 2. The success visualization. Spend a few minutes visualizing a future in which you've achieved your goals despite your doubts. Picture yourself overcoming each challenge, working through doubts, and achieving success. This mental rehearsal strengthens your resilience and reminds you that doubt is a part of the journey, not a stop sign. 3. The progress tracker. Keep a progress journal where you record each step you take toward overcoming self-doubt. Document actions taken, challenges faced, and lessons learned. Reflecting on your progress reinforces a sense of accomplishment and reminds you that you're moving forward, regardless of self-doubt. Self-doubt is a natural and even valuable part of the human experience. When approached with curiosity, action, and resilience, it can become a driving force that helps you reach new heights. By viewing doubt as a guide rather than a barrier, you empower yourself to move forward, even in the face of uncertainty. Embrace your doubts as reminders that you're pushing yourself to grow, and remember that each step you take is a testament to your courage and commitment. Throughout this audiobook, we've explored ways to understand, reframe, and harness self-doubt. From meeting your inner critic and building resilience to embracing vulnerability and transforming doubt into motivation, you now have a toolkit to face challenges with confidence and courage. Remember that self-doubt isn't something to eliminate but to embrace as part of your journey toward growth and success. As you move forward, know that you're not alone in this experience. Everyone encounters self-doubt, but not everyone learns to use it as a tool for empowerment. By adopting these techniques and trusting in your ability to grow, you're well on your way to outsmarting your doubts and achieving your highest potential. Final words. As you step forward from here, remember that self-doubt isn't a flaw, it's a part of what makes you human. The moments when you feel that familiar tug of uncertainty are the same moments that challenge you to grow, adapt, and push beyond what you thought was possible. Embrace those doubts as companions on your journey. They're simply reminders that you're moving into new territory, stretching into a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Keep practicing the techniques you've learned here. Reflect on your progress, celebrate your victories, and know that each small step is building your path to success. Trust in your strength, believe in your capacity to grow, and most importantly, never let doubt define your limits. You are capable, you are resilient, and you are more powerful than you know. Thank you for taking this journey. Now go out and transform those doubts into the success that's waiting for you. Take care and be well.